Hi everyone, my name is Adrien, and I've been promoted in 2007 here, and right after I moved to Shanghai, and I just came back 6 months ago. The idea here is like to share a bit my experience there, design entrepreneurship. So, that's the first thing I experienced when I arrived in Shanghai in 2005. I was doing an internship in Tokyo, and I took the taxi from the airport, Pudong, to downtown. And the taxi, the ride was pretty chaotic, especially coming from Tokyo, where everything is neat, everything is clean. And my girlfriend at the time was speaking a bit of Chinese with the taxi driver, and I heard one word kind of resonate in me, was chabuduo. Actually, you are Chinese guys, right? From where?
Hangzhou.
Hangzhou?
Nanjing.
Nanjing?
Jiangxi.
Jiangxi? Okay, cool. Thanks for coming here. So, beside you, who knows what is chabuduo? Good. So, what is it? Kind of. Yeah?
So-so.
So-so. Right. Actually, it's literally, tell me if I'm wrong, of course. It's about difference, not much, if you translate literally from the 3 characters. But actually, the chabuduo, it's what I feel is like it's kind of like a Chinese mindset or part of the culture in a good way. I mean, and actually it means like more like something close enough, or plus ou moins, what we have in French, and you can approach many things, many points with these ideas of chabuduo. Here are like the kind of, when you Google it or when you Baidu it, about the chabuduo. It could be a pipe, a water pipe, going around the stone, because maybe the stone is too heavy, or maybe it's faster to go around. It's about also when you get your bike in the morning, and in Shanghai, and there's like the guys painting the sidewalk in yellow, and it's quite annoying, I would say, mafan, to remove the bike. So you discover your bike in the morning with the yellow tires. And or you have also some kind of like experience like this guy, where one day he woke up and like half of his balcony was totally fall apart. And you can check, there's an article about that on ion.co, explain the whole concept of chabuduo. And what is interesting is all the resilience of the Chinese population towards this chabuduo, because the country grew up so fast, so nothing could be like perfect, 100% perfect. So they go with the flow. They go with this like this chabuduo attitude. What I like, it's kind of like express a certain like forgiveness of acceptance. Acceptance, it means also like in a personal life, there's plenty of things, it's not a big deal, in fact. And if you don't understand, I didn't understand a lot of things when I arrived in China, and till nowadays, it's okay, doesn't matter. Chabuduo is also like enable to get things done faster. And this is what I love the most in China, is if there is a challenge, if there is something to do, you're gonna face it and find quickly a solution. It's like here, like C'est Bon actually is a water bottle brand, and so the guy pile up all the boxes as a staircase to enter the room. That's, I think it's quite genius, and actually you see that all the time, covering your phone for the delivering guys, like for Alumni, which is the Deliveroo in China, and you cover up your phone with this water bottle. easy, simple, cheap, and do the job, right? I experience like every day, so that is that actually the chair of my neighbors, or actually was a bit tight, maybe with his partner to ride around. So he found like an office chair, plug the office chair on his scooter, and here you go. It's cheap. Do the job. Or like also like some friend's place, the tap has a problem, so it's too close from the sink, you plug something and make the job. Or actually these flowers, I'm sure like you experienced that in Shanghai or in other cities. You come back late at night and you want like to get some flowers for your partner, your friends, and basically those flowers are very cheap. And there's a reason, because the guys are cutting the flowers from the garden and they're just taping around the stick, wrap them into paper, and here you go. But you make the job, right? And it's fun, it's cool, it's cheap, and everyone is happy, right? So the whole thing is about, why I'm sharing all these examples is about these kind of mindsets that trigger innovation, and it's part from a long time actually in China. There's another thing also is like when you walk around Shanghai or China, Hangzhou, Nanjing, anywhere, you find like these stores everywhere. And those stores are providing anything you want, literally anything. Like router, camera, phone, speaker, cars, remote control, anything you want, they have. And those shops actually have a lot of products that call like Shanghai. And I'm sure like you're laughing, but actually it's very interesting idea and very cool concept of this Shanghai. Literally means like mountain fortress, and it appears during the Song dynasty. It was like the remote villages and remote fortress. They were fighting the imperial government, so they went in the mountain and they fight back. And they kept this idea for all the fake products. We call it fake or inspired. And but the purpose of Shanghai actually is not to copy and sell the original idea, but really like to take inspiration from the original brand and invent something new. And I took this example. It's not my picture, I found on Google, but it was, I guess, Apple 2 or 3, I don't remember. And those guys creating like the iPhone mini. Hey. And I think it's quite great because where the trend was like going bigger and bigger in terms of phone, those guys took the idea like to go for something smaller. And today I have my latest iPhone is the small one. And I think it's 10 or years ago about to have this kind of approach. I think is quite brilliant. Another approach of the Shanghai, it's even though sometimes you can feel it's quite ridiculous, I think it's great because it replies to a need of local customers. So they are doing really human-centered design or customer-centric design. So for example, like the cigarettes, I don't have it's a GIF normally, so you can see it's a phone. It's pretty cool. You have plenty of examples on thisnovation.org, by the way. It's a Western community. They're tracking all the Shanghai things. Shanghai is also about, as I say, innovation, that they were like one of the first proposing like dual SIM cards. Well, everyone was like in one SIM card because actually it's more It's better for the marketing because you can sell more phones. You will have like 2 phones. But those guys, they invented like, or they proposed a solution, a phone with 2 SIM cards. They also increased the resolution compared to iPhone 4 at the time. They increased the camera pixels and for a very affordable price. So those guys are really leading in a way certain markets, and by 2010, they represent about 20% of the world's mobile phone market. So they are not ridiculous, they are very strong. And by the way, Japan did the same. Japan did, and until not too long ago, got inspired as well by Western brands. I talk with my dad, I talk with my parents, everything made in Japan in their age, 70s let's say, it was very bad quality and fake from Germany, fake from US, fake from other countries. And what is interesting is like when you see what's the result, nowadays like Japanese brands are leading few industries by far. You can question the evolution and the interest and impact of copying or getting inspired by Western brands or more mature markets. Another example is when we talk about WeChat. And the first thing, of course, when WeChat's been quite public and known in the world, everyone was like, ah, it's a copy of WhatsApp, right? They probably started in this way. But rapidly, they started like, to add features. So they seriously compete with WhatsApp, messengers, talk lines, every platforms. They added other features such as like official accounts to publish from the company perspective, articles or stuff like this. They also added like the moments, competing with Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course the main one was about the wallet, where you can buy anything. So when you walk in China, you have the QR code. Actually also more and more in France, I saw like QR code everywhere, where you can buy directly scanning with WeChat or Jofuba Alipay. And I miss also other things such as like Look Around, which is like kind of Tinder, all these kind of things. So WeChat started as a WhatsApp, but at the end is a tool, is a communication tool, is a social tool, very part of the Chinese culture. And by keeping iterating, they also developed the mini programs. And the mini programs are something now in China, I think, bigger than the old App Store or all the stores, because it's super convenient. You don't need to download an app. You just chat with your friends. For example, you want to book an Airbnb, you check Airbnb, you send the link to your friends, and you book with your WeChat, and then after you pay with your WeChat. So everything is seamless. So they're creating their ecosystem. Xiaomi also started with a massive manufacturer, kind of considered as a Shanghai as well. And most of their products are like strongly inspired by, let's say, Apple. But by doing so, it allowed them like to focus on actually on the ecosystem. And today they have like hundreds of products, connected objects, smart objects, and all these smart objects are part of a big ecosystem, whereas actually the innovation is the business plan, because they focus on the offline and of course online retail, and partnering with third parties. They invest in for developing products, and these products are only sold on the store if they reach a certain pre-order amount, so it's kind of crowdfunding. And then when it's quite popular, Xiaomi gets all the technology and do it cheaper. So their business plan is massive. it's very genius. And they've been so strong that actually one day, a few years ago, I went to India and I was asking the guys, the locals in Bangalore, like if they had like some local brands. And the first thing they replied to me was like, Xiaomi. So they also have this culture of really integrating themselves into the targeted market. How they did so? It's Lei Jun, the founder. That's he prefer like to start and work from little things instead of starting by striving for the perfection. Compared to Apple, who's taking years to develop a product where everything has to be perfect in terms of CMF, in terms of like experience. Those guys, they don't care. They launch a product and they see, and they iterate, and they reach a point where they can really lead the market. And this is where, like, you can see, actually there's a consultancy did an article about that called like feel.com, where it's like really splitting the three main phases of a manufacturing doing Shenzhen product into agile phase, where they create, transform, and destroy really as a startup. And then after, when they scale up and they pivot and they can really mature the market and they can really lead the market. And this is one of the examples with Xiaomi, for example. One of the advantages also of China, it's through the last, let's say, 70 plus years, they went through a lot of changes, but nothing comparable. Like, none of our culture in the West can compare. It's massive. The gap between the old generation and the new generation is huge in terms of technology, in terms of habits, in terms of mindsets. And all these changes make the Chinese population extremely adapting and high adopters. Another example is about coffee. When I arrived the first time in China, when you wanted to get a good coffee, you had to go there. You had to go to Starbucks. And we all know Starbucks really sucks in terms of coffee. When I left Shanghai, that was the experience of coffee. So is Baijiu, Maotai, and Café. And that in Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Beijing, all the new generation are drinking that, like the coffee cocktail. Shanghai became the world's coffee capital with more than about 8,000 shops in the city. Who could believe that 15 years ago? Everyone was saying like, oh, Chinese is about tea, it's about green tea, blah, blah, blah. Now they are leading the market in terms of coffee. You have an amazing quality of coffee there. Everyone's drinking coffee and everyone is into coffee. So, to sum up like this first chapter is, I think China is super interesting about the culture of immediacy, as I explained with the Chabuduo, with the Shenzhai, with the culture gap as well, that really brings innovation by trying. There is also this 80%, 80-20% rules, where you can get the same amount with only 20% effort. Speed, of course, is critical. To lead a market, to innovate, you have to go extremely fast, way faster than any country in the world. If not, you die. So startups, corporates, they have to innovate to survive. And the last point is hyper adopters. Because they went through a lot of changes, Chinese population is extremely agile and extremely adaptive and asking for innovation, asking for new experiences. Now, French in China. I took this picture because I had few talks. First, because I was working with at first with a German company. So as a German company, they know everything about design. They know everything about industry, from a Chinese perspective, of course. As a French, we have a good lifestyle. We have a good know-how about how to live, but not that much about design. And I had like this experience a few times with local clients that they were saying like, sorry, we won't work together because you are not hard worker guys. Why I'm sharing that is because I'm sure like we all have cliché, we all have like ideas and prejudice towards the unknown, and that's actually we should kill that, because it really destroys a lot of opportunities and a lot of connection. This book is, I read it not too long ago, actually, a few years ago. I should have like read it when I arrived in China, because Adrien Nazez is a teacher at the INSEAD in Paris, and she made a work about decoding how people think and get things done from different culture. And I think what is interesting is like to see, for example, is one of the matrix she's explaining. I think it's quite interesting in a way that like you have the emotions and the confrontational. China is not here, but is around Korea and Japan, obviously. And the French, we are the total opposite. So we are going like to argue all the time. We are going to criticize all the time. We are going to be passionate, which is quite hard for Asian and Chinese to deal with French people, and I guess it's the same vice versa, where you have to don't show your emotion, you have to be, and you avoid absolutely confrontation because you are losing face. So how do we do, in a way, like to integrate knowing all these things to build a design studio in China? We try to go local. So to go local is we do a lot of projects at first. So Blank has been set up in the studio I almost co-founded in 2008. It's a freelance studio at first for visa, for invoicing, and I joined in 2012. In 2012, we try like to structure more as a design studio, and we do these kind of things because I just needed like an experience of a few years in a designaffairs, a German consultancy, where everything is about strategy, everything is quite high standards and long projects. And with my partners, Nicolas, he's still in Shanghai, we decide to go really working with local clients. So we try to go fast. We don't iterate. We provide fast solution, and we make things happening at any cost. But we realize we do a lot of mistakes. And this is why I also explain you with the Chabudwa approach, is like with the last 15 years, I kept questioning myself, and we kept questioning ourselves to make our business evolve and more replying to the needs of the market. So at first we try to look for impact. We try to upgrade our services, and the only way is like to show what are the benefits of our solutions. For example, here it's a temperature control for home. That's the first solution they provide. They came to us with. Yeah. And this is our design. What is good is when we launch it, within I think 6 to 8 months, they got their ROI done, which was like 2 times faster than the usual ROI. The other one is, other example, it's we work with Pernod Ricard. I think it was like 7-8 years ago, and at that time there was a threat of fake alcohol, and it represents like 30% of loss for the group in China. So we developed like a mini programs for WeChat, where you scan on all the bottles sold by the group. There's a QR code. You scan the QR code, and with the mini program, you know if it's a fake or a real alcohol. And I don't know if you tried already fake alcohol, but it's not that great. You have pain in your back, in your body, and it's not very comfortable. With this thing, increase the business, increase the sales of the company, and we kept working with them. So with all these things, we realized also like we were too expensive for local brands. There's at that time there were thousands of design studios in Hong Kong, Macau, let's say the Guangdong Bay and the Pearl River. So every time we were like working with our clients, they were always like telling us like, oh, but we can find cheaper in the south. And we were trying to compete until that moment. We said like, no, we cannot compete. The second point was we also realized we don't fit with everyone. And the culture shock with certain organization doesn't work. We are French, we are international. We try to diffuse this kind of culture of design and innovation. We cannot work with anyone. And the last point is like with certain organization, local big organization, they were seeing us as supplier and not as a partner. And that's a key thing. So from that, we look for other clients. And one of the good one is Somfy, French. We understand each other. They are starting in China with a design approach, and they realize they are too expensive. They realize the competition is way more aggressive than them, cheaper, more iterative, way more agile. And Somfy is a big engineer and very, very, very slow machine. And our approach is really like compared to their current solution they propose on Chinese markets to have something more seamless. We develop an ecosystem with remote control and wall switch integrated to open and close the curtain, an app to control from distance, the engine for opening and closing the curtain, integrating a screen, and displaying basic information for outside. So our idea is really like having a seamless control and the temperature control between inside and outside. And how we do is working very closely with our all the stakeholders, the company, the headquarters in France, but also the team in China, in Shanghai, the customers as well. We do a lot of like co-creation workshop, where we share our ideas, we share our insights, assumptions, and we do also A/B tasting all the time. We develop like user experience storytelling, also to validate with the headquarters, because they are very far from Shanghai. We envision future scenarios. The solution component also with the engineer team, and also all the features that's really keen for necessary for the Chinese culture. At the end, the product is not launched because the decision-making team realizes it's too expensive for them. But they keep this idea, and they decide to change their current remote control for worldwide markets. The other project is for Leque. It's a cookware company based in Spain. They're also selling in China, but not great. They realize like their products are really European and not Chinese enough. And they came to us to try to find new products. But here in this approach was like, we want to try something new in China. And we want, because we know the value of Chinese markets and how innovative is Chinese markets, we want to get insight to impact our global strategy and to distribute the product we're going to design together worldwide. So how we do, we start actually a lot with the marketing team. We analyze a lot of like all the data to figure out where are like the opportunities. We have access to you can buy all the data from Taobao, from Jingdong, which is like the Amazon in China. And we have easily access to that. And we see what are like the best opportunities to develop new products. We do, of course, like a lot of like trends analysis, a lot of consumer understanding. And we work closely, the same as Somfy, with all the stakeholders, with the team of Leque, but also with a pool of users. So we co-create with them all the time. We have a lot of sessions. We do also a lot online with scenario that we spread to a pool of maybe 50-ish or 100 people, and to get feedback of assumption we have in scenario we can explore further. That really help to save time and investment. And with all this projects typology, we decide to maybe extend a bit more like our offer with more like business design. And Tineco, which is I think the leader for vacuum cleaner in China, came to us and say we need to redesign our vacuum cleaners. And quickly doing like workshop with the marketing team and the product directing team, we realized like maybe it's not necessary to design completely the vacuum cleaner, but maybe focusing on like the strategic part. And the part we decide to focus on is the head of the vacuum cleaner. It's cheap, and this is to develop, and it is also the one who's bringing the highest value of the vacuum cleaner. And we come up with like this set of products for new baby born family. That's because there is so much like pollution in China, or let's say in the mindset. They kept this mindset of like outside is extremely polluted, so inside it has to be extremely clean. And the scenario we develop with our targeted user is like, you don't need to wash everything. You just have like to use the Tineco vacuum cleaner you have. You just plug the different headset, and with UV lighting and with silicone plug, you clean the toys, you clean the bed sheets, you clean all the sensitive area that the baby or the small kids is playing around with. And we work with the strategic team to see how we can sell the product, where we can sell the product, at what price. And quickly we realize they are not ready. They are also an R&D team. They are a very market following driven company, and they're not ready. So we stopped the project. So regarding this chapter, the key takeaway is from China to the world. For example, with the Somfy project, with this high adopter for innovation market, there is more and more companies and organizations are using China as a playground to explore new features, new experience for Chinese market, but also for global strategy. The proof of concept, it's also very important. We didn't do it every time as early we wanted to do. And it can really help to convince the decision maker for very low cost, then there is an opportunity to develop. And also the micro innovation, and which is very Chinese, where the micro innovation really allow with small step for low cost to be different and to explore new opportunities. But that is part of the culture and is really part of the company culture. So this is my last chapter, is about when you want to innovate, you need to have the right mindset and you have to get the right culture. And this guy is amazing. His name Bracken Darrell. He's the CEO of Logitech for, I think, 7-8 years, something like this. And what he's diffusing is trust. He's diffusing inclusivity, is diffusing failure, is diffusing all the features a company needs to innovate. And when you look like the evolution of Logitech within the last 10 years is humongous. They were doing cheap black accessories, computing accessories, and now they're really leading the market, especially in post-COVID era where everything is remote, everything is at home. So we're trying to do the same with our team, to innovate with our clients. We need to innovate also with our team. So we try to do more transparency, more authenticity with our team, more workshop regarding strategic decision. We let the team organizing events, interacting with the clients, leading everything, and we are here to support them. So that is a big shift for us. And it works. For example, with 2 years ago, we decided to work with these clients. They approached us with this kind of innovation culture that we were spreading, and they thought we could work together. So Meidi is one of the leading companies in China for all home appliances. Is huge. And their innovation team approached us and sent us a contract, and within this contract, everything is very narrow-minded. Everything is, again, they see us as suppliers, not as a partner. We feel like very threatened. We feel like very blocked. And within the contract, the entire team is adding comments, adding references and disagreements. And the project leads from our side collect all the notes on the Google Doc, shared doc, and forgot to delete all the comments from the team and send that to the clients. And we're like, fuck, we're going to lose the clients. We lost the project, we lost the clients. And 1 week after, the contract came back with a lot of excuses from the clients, and a lot of curiosity, and even more eager to work with us because of this transparency and because of this honesty and because of this culture of authenticity. Now we need to do the same with our clients. So we did for a few months, we interview, I don't know, a lot of people that are all the feedback from design director, from innovation director, from marketing director, to understand their pain, to understand what are their struggle when they want to innovate, when they want to develop new products. Because when we design is too late. We need to understand way ahead what are the strategic decisions when we launch an idea, when we have an assumption about an idea. And the result is, okay, I sum up a few of them, but there are more. But actually, the most interesting is you have to start small. and make it right. You should not like think about like reinventing the wheel all the time, but just small features are very interesting. Again, when we look at the story of Xiaomi, is like this, starting small, but make it right. This is about inspiration with and not for. When we say inspiration with, it's getting all the stakeholders with us. The users, but also like the collaborators on the project, and to inspire it. Look at the pain, not the problem, because if you look at the problems, you're going to be like very narrow-minded and very focusing on solution. Well, like pain, you're going to help. You are going to be way more open, and it's going like to enlarge your vision and the scope of opportunities. Failure is fundamental. And the problem is like in our society, especially in France, we don't have the right to fail. And that is a mistake. Failure is the base of creativity and innovation. For that, we need to allocate some time to explore and innovate. When you look at Google, for example, they have some time slot where they can explore, they can play around, and those moments are really generating innovation. We should talk about trust and not de-risking, because de-risking is from a business and market approach. Well, like trust is like you trust your team to take some, to make some mistakes and to explore, and also ground it. There's so much things to talk about innovation, about design, that we have to keep in mind. There's plenty of people in a team outside of design studio or in your organization, they don't understand the value of design, and they just see design as a drawing. So this is what we've done. We collaborated with a few companies. That is a company called like B-Cell, headquartered in US, North US. They're doing also vacuum cleaner. And we decided to work with the R&D team in Shenzhen and to help the R&D team to unlock their creativity and understand what is the value of design, and to facilitate actually and bridge their team with marketing, with design seamlessly. We introduce them, like, for example, the testing ideas anytime, empathy of the users, of all the stakeholders, how to collect user feedback, because you have to learn. It's not just asking questions, but asking the right question at the right moments. Generating insights. It's hard to collect ideas and like say, okay, this is an insight, and this insight will be the starting point to generate an idea. And of course, present ideas with the user stories, because user stories help to generate content for the marketing team, and they can project, say, we have this idea because this user told us that, and they make the whole journey. Coming from an engineer point of view, it's amazing, and it helped them a lot, and it helped to generate innovation, not only from a design point of view, not only from a marketing point of view, that following the competitors, but from an R&D point of view. We also collaborate with Leroy Merlin in Beijing, where their store actually were facing some problem because it was a DIY store. And doing DIYs in China is extremely stupid. You cannot compete. That is very French, without any understanding of the market. And French brands have done that many times in China. So China is not a market, it's a culture. And that is very important to understand. So we help them, we help the innovation team to make the shift from a DIY team or DIY brand to a design-driven store, where you can walk in your store and customize the decoration of your shop, of your home. For that, we developed like a 2 weeks or 2 sprint workshop within their store with users, visitors, and also a team member of the brand. The idea and the impact was like we had a huge engagement from the people, from anyone, and people from the team, from the organization, but also the visitors and the users. They understand the value of design. And that was like creating, so as I say, engagement, but also build confidence. He helped also the local team, the sourcing team, the marketing team, the product team to be more confident when they are about to take risk to develop new products, and also being able like to assessing the capacity and the resources of your organization, because there's plenty of ideas. You can have the greatest design, the greatest solution, but if your company or if your clients doesn't have this capacity, it's zero, it's useless. So understanding the capacity and the capabilities of your clients or your organization is the key as well. So from that, we keep trying, and I decided to show this project with SnowPlus, which is like a vaping device, vaping company from Shenzhen, with a lot of investments, and they approached us for designing a new vaping device. And we were disagree, because for them it was just about the style, just providing one more product. But for us, like, because we're working on our values, we're working on our manifesto, we're working on our innovation culture and company culture, we couldn't just do a design and one more product, especially for this industry. So we, our approach was like to propose a tool to really stop smoking. A vaping device that you can control to reduce your nicotine and tobacco dependence, thanks to an app and thanks to the product itself. So the vaping, actually, on the bottom, you have a button you can roll, and you can decide step by step that you are going to reduce your intake of nicotine. And your app is growing blue or glowing blue when you're on a good track, or red if you're on a bad track. As I say, our clients wanted like a nice design, a very appealing design, a very iPhone design, and we wanted something that really helped our user. So we didn't give up, and we kept proposing and designing this solution to them. They refused it, but at least we were like in phase with our values. And this is what I want to say. It's important like to be in phase with our values, especially as a designer. So if you didn't read this book, I really encourage to read this book. It's from Victor Papanek, wrote in the 70s, I guess. And it really slapping your face, and it's really like reminding the role we have. We cannot just design for designing. We have a role of what I call like social activism. We have to tell people that there is no sense to develop one more product. There is no sense to develop one more fancy features. We have to serve a purpose. And also, we have to tell people then, like, sometimes the ideas they have, the marketing, product, CEO, they have an idea that's actually maybe this product is not needed. And I think the best meetings is when you have a serious talk with your clients or your partner and say, no, we cannot do this product. It doesn't make sense. On that, I attend a lot of like design awards in China and in the world, and my idea is really like to defend this approach that design is not just for gadgets, it's not for beauty, but there's an impact, there's a role, and there's a purpose. 2 years ago, I was invited as a guest, as a juror for like the Content Fair Design Awards. And at the end, we fought a lot for who was about to be like the best of the best. A lot of people and members of the jury was for like this very stupid and useless TV, but because it's technologic, it's providing this wow effect, and for sure it's great. You have a TV which is flat if you want to be a family, but could be like curved if you want to be more immersed. in this visual experience. It's super expensive. It's targeting a very little percentage of the population, and the impact on the planet is horrible. But there is this vegetable tray made by a Mongolian manufacturer and company, so in the north, in a very remote area. They're recycling potatoes to make this tray. You don't know how many millions of this tray are used every day in China. Everything you buy is in this tray, and it's in plastic. So it's polluting massively. So this thing maybe is not as great as, technologically speaking, as this TV, but the impact is humongous. And we're like few members of the jury fighting for this idea, and luckily got the best of the best. And I think that is important as a designer, to promote these kind of ideas and like to defend these kind of ideas. Especially in China, where more and more people are into this purpose. So because China has been through so much change, so much, what to say, so much like product provided, services provided. Maybe I need to stop also. Too much, it's time to stop. There are more and more brands and more conscious about that. That China is not a maker country, is not a manufacturing country only, but this is also a leading country in a way that needs to be engaged into values, and they're aware about that. And we have to stop using the change word, because we always promote innovation for change or for betterness or blah, blah, but actually we should promote more like an evolution and progress. Because progress is about moving forward in a positive way, while like change, you don't know. It could be good or bad, we don't know. So to pimp a bit the slogan of the school, is not design for creative innovation, but I think we should do design for purposeful innovation and for social progress. Thank you.